So we're happy to have you on. Welcome.
Appreciate
Seth,
you.
pronounce your last name.
Mulia.
Mulia.
with an I in it.
All of that? Okay.
All that. Mm-hmm.
All right. And this is, y'all are related, right?
Yeah, it's my younger brother.
There you go.
OG.
So we got family on, and
Mm-hmm.
Seth has recently been through a journey in tech.
Yep.
It's exciting. So yeah, I'll open it up. I'll just tell the people who you are,
Take
what you
the
do.
family business.
You know?
Yeah, there you go.
So, yeah, my name is Seth. I got into tech. When did I start with hire? Well, okay, first of all, I got into tech through one of many avenues there is to get into tech, and that's through an apprenticeship called Road to Hire. I knew about tech, of course, from my brother Corey and Gary and all my other brothers. They all in tech, so I was like, let me join on. I seen what that money was talking about. I was like, I need parts of that too.
Yeah.
So at first, I was before I got into the Road to Hire apprenticeship, I was working at the airport as a ramp agent, and that was not it. It was hot. It was hot out there. It was hot. I was loading
You got
bags.
the flight
and stuff.
benefits, though.
Yeah, that's all I miss. That's all I miss. It's some flight benefits. Other than that, nah, y'all got it. But I heard about the Road to Hire program through another person that I knew, and she had went through it and got placed at this Fortune 500 or 100 company. And I was like, word? All right, I'll do that. And she was like, it's a 6-month program. You learn how to code, and they teach you professional development and all this stuff. I was like, okay, I'll try it.
So what is Road to Hire? Like who is it through? What is it?
So Road to Hire is part of Red Ventures, their company. Okay. And I forget what the real business word is. It like a
Subcontract?
Subdivision, something like that.
Subsidy?
Yeah, that's something like is that a real
Subsidiary?
word? Yeah. They're that to Red Ventures. So, so now they actually expanded more than coding. They're coding. They are cybersecurity. They do nursing.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's really random in that.
Yeah,
because Alexa's doing BA. She's
yeah.
doing business analyst work with them.
Business analytics. When I had first started, it was just coding. So I was the 9th cohort. They had done what's called cybersecurity beforehand, but they had stopped because they didn't have instructors for it, nothing like that. So I joined in on the coding program. I was cohort 9. Shout out cohort 9. Yeah. You know what time it is. Mm-hmm. And the process to get in was probably the scariest part of the whole thing.
What was that?
So first, you have an initial interview with an instructor, and you go in there and you just, they ask you the simple stuff, regular interview stuff. Like, hey, what do you do now? Do you like it? So what got you interested in coding? And simple question. Anybody can answer these questions. They're light. It's light work. But then after you get past that and they realize, okay, this person would be a good fit, they mention, okay, we're going to put you in this program before the program, right?
Like Quick Start or Jump Start or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
I forgot what it was called. But it was like a little program. We met on Tuesdays and Thursdays for a month, for 3 weeks in a month. And it was basically like an introductory to what the Road to Hire was really going to be like. We were about, how many people was in there? Now this is before the actual apprenticeship. So it was on Zoom. This was 2020. So COVID just got banging, right? Mm-hmm. And it was about 500 of us on there.
Wow.
500.
I was not expecting that number.
No, it was 500 of us on Zoom. And they split us up into little teams of 20s. And that was still a lot of people in there. And then they tried to give us the realest, simplest of coding. We learned what H1, H2.
HTML.
Yeah, HTML, all that. Learning how to do font, learning how to put color on stuff, and simple HTML, CSS stuff. And then we also learned some what's called professional development stuff. So just talking to each other, we did icebreaker stuff. First week of school type stuff. Yeah. Get your syllabus, that type of stuff.
Got you.
And then, but at the end of that, we had to actually create a project. So they were teaching all this stuff, and by the second day we met on the Thursday or something, they said, okay, we're gonna create a whole website. We're gonna create a whole website, just HTML and CSS. You're gonna pick a location that you want to go to, and then you're gonna create a website about this location, right? You're gonna basically make it like a tour guide for, you're gonna sell this place off to somebody. Hey, you should really go to this place, right? So I chose Toronto, Canada. And you had to have a header, you had to have a footer, you had to have a hero image, all this fun stuff, right? I didn't know. Okay, I knew You gave me like the quickest 30-minute lesson, the worst lesson on coding. When I look back at it now, I'm like, I ain't learned nothing for real. He just taught me how to like increase the font, put color on it, basically little simple stuff again. And like now we're like getting like serious, and so I'm putting hero images, background images, and again, not looking at that. That's not even that serious now compared to what I see people do now. But it was the simple stuff, right? So we had to create this whole website. A lot of us in there weren't new. Now, there was 500 people in there. A lot of them came from colleges as well. They were like college dropouts, came from like NC State, Winston-Salem, and college dropouts, and wanted to just get quick, get in there, get out to like a company and all that. So I'm thinking, it's 500, about 200 it got to be from college dropouts, and they got to be nice with it too. So I'm thinking, ain't no way I'm getting in there. But hey, I'm going to try. I'm going to try. So I did my Toronto website. I was working on it at the airport. During lunchtime, I'll be in there going crazy. People walking by, they be like, yo, what you doing? What's that on your screen? I'm like, bro, I'm coding. I'm going in right now. like, I was on background color, all that. Like, I was going in. And I look back at that website, and that joint was so ugly. So at the end, I had to present it to, so when they split us up into groups as well, we had a professional development and lead instructor, we had a coding instructor, and then we had somebody in there that was like a lead of like the whole thing. That was just in there. So at the end, we had to present to all three of them. And we all had our own time slots and all that. So I remember the day this actually happened. So the presentation day comes. And I finished this website. I'm thinking it's like sensational. I've never built. This is my first website I've ever built in my life. What's it called? No, it wasn't even on. It wasn't even on Visual Studios. It was on something else. And it was like an internal website we did it on. And what's it called? So I'm presenting. They want us to present our website. They want us to present how our code worked. And then after that, the professional development side was going to ask us just like personal questions of why you should be enrolled to hire. So there is 500 people doing the same exact thing as I'm doing. And I'm thinking, I'm like, I gotta go crazy. So I like the night before, I reviewed all my code. I'm like, I gotta know what this does, that does. I'm writing it down. I'm trying to memorize it. And when I'm presenting it, I go clean through that thing. I'm presenting this code, and to the point where they was like, okay, Seth, you're running out of time. Yeah, we get it. You presented all this code. Let's just keep moving. Let's get, like, they had to move it to the professional development side. It was like, okay, I was like, bet. So the lady, she starts asking me questions like, so what got you into code? Why you want to be enrolled to hire? And then I answer those questions easily. But she asked one question that I feel like really got me into the apprenticeship. She asked me, if you don't get into road to hire now, what would you do afterwards? And I gave this fire answer. I was like, listen, like, I was like, the sob story, like, you told me, Corey told me this. He was like, guys, I gave a sob. I was like, man,
I'm gonna go sell drugs.
No cap. I gotta go back.
They keep me out the street.
I gotta go back to the band though. Like,
my big family.
It was bad. Man. What's it called? So I was like, man, if I don't get into this, I know what Road to Hire has to offer. I'm gonna try again the next time and the next time after that, because I just know like this is what I want to do. I want to get into tech. I've seen what it does for people and the lifestyles they get to live now, and I was like, saw like all this stuff. And she was just nodding her head, writing down. I was like, I got him. I got him.
So this was all before you even get in the program. And like, this is different than a traditional boot camp.
Yeah.
It sounds like they have a pre-interview process and they're paying you once you get in.
Yep.
See, that's the big thing that I don't feel like he really got to.
I ain't get to that yet because I ain't know how much I'm getting paid yet. Nothing was offered. I ain't get nothing, right? So I knew I was gonna get paid though. Yeah. But what's it called?
You had a full-time job.
Yeah.
Before deciding to go, drop everything and go.
Yeah, I'm getting something. I'm leaving here with something. What's it called? So I finished the process, and we had to wait like 4 days or 5 days before they called us back to actually tell us if we're in the apprenticeship or not. So I'm actually on a flight to go see my now fiance in Connecticut, right? I was on the plane, and I got a call. I ain't get no connection in the air. So we land, I'm looking at my phone, and she's like, call me back within the next 24 hours. I said, yo. I called her back on the plane. It was like one of the lead persons. Well, she's like lead instructor there. I called her back. She was like, hey, Seth. I was like, hey. She's like, how you feeling? I'm like, I'm good. How are you? She was like, good. I got some great news for you. I'm like, word? She's like, yeah, you've been accepted into the Road to Hire program, coding cohort 9. I was like, bet, let's go. I'm on the plane. I was about to shout. I'm on the plane. People like getting off, like all this. I'm about to be like, let's go. Like, but I had to shout at you. But I was happy. I had to, after that, you know, you go through all your drug tests, all that fun stuff. So I'm in there now, right? Mm-hmm. So they gave us they tell us what it is and what we're going to be doing for 6 months. We're going to be coding. We're going to learn HTML. We're going to learn CSS. We're going to learn JavaScript. We're going to learn MySQL. We're going to learn React. We're going to learn, yeah, that's about it. And then there was probably some other things I forget. But we learn all that. And then on the other side, we're going to learn professional development. We're going to learn email etiquette. We're going to learn how to talk to.
Of course, I email etiquette.
We had to learn how to talk to people. We had to learn how to give speeches, public speeches, all this stuff. Mm-hmm. We had like road talks that were basically like TED Talks, like impromptu speeches we gave for like 7-10 minute things. So all that, and then each week I got paid. So in the beginning, I was getting paid $250 a week. That's money. You know, it's money.
It's something.
It's something. You're getting paid $250 a week. I think North Carolina increased their minimum wage, and it was like halfway through the program, and then our pay went up to $5.25 a week. And I was like, that's much better. That's much better. A lot of, because by the time we got halfway through, a lot of people left. And I didn't even mention too, we had 500 people in there. Of course, I'm one that got accepted. There was a total of, we started the cohort with a total of 48 people. 48 people got accepted out of those 500 people. 48? Wow. 48 people. We had 2 tech instructors. We had 2 professional development instructors that were teaching us throughout the whole 6 months. And we was going in. We was learning all the simple stuff. It was all on Zoom too, so it wasn't like, that was like probably a difficult part for a lot of people, including myself, just trying to learn it all on Zoom, and then we was getting put on the spot on Zoom, like, share your screen, you code this live right now, and a lot of people like myself never coded. So I was getting put on the spot like a lot, like, hey, yo, do this. But I would say that did make me better. That did make me better. That better prepare me to study, and how important studying really is. It's like learning about like what this means, what does this do, and all that fun stuff.
Man, I love that because I wish there was more programs that were structured like that, where even if you're not able to pay folks a lot, right? You interview the folks, you get the folks that are hungry, and you're able to give them something as they're learning. Because the other route of learning on your own is it's a lot more difficult. Yeah. Right. So you're getting paid, you're learning all this stuff, they're putting you on the spot. Yeah. Did you experience any like mental burnout? Like what did that look like?
Yes. So we had multiple projects throughout this, throughout the apprenticeship. We had about, I want to say 5 different projects. So our first project was a group project. It was called Hope Hacks. We cleaned through that. Everybody got their role. That was probably my best team I was on. It was a different team every time. Everybody had their role. Easy money. By the time our fourth project came around, and that was before, our last project was our portfolio. Before that, we had a project about just reinvent a website that's already out now. Make it look better, make it look how you want it to look, whatever. And this group that I was in it was mid. It was a mid group. It was a mid group. It happens, right? So they decided to reinvent Instagram, the website. And I'm like, why? Like, that's kind of...
You got some nerve to be mid and have that type of undertaking that you would have...
Very ambitious.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, y'all sure? Y'all want to do Instagram? Like, this is serious. Like, they were talking about, let's get the Facebook. Let's get the Facebook API. We're going to put it onto this website. I'm like, bro, does Facebook even let us? Facebook even let... Do we need, like, clearance for that? Like, but what's it called? By the time we did that, a lot of people, including myself, we had burnout because we had just gotten through another project, and then after that, right after that one, we had to do our portfolio, and that was a full-on front end, back end thing because we had to connect our old projects or all the projects that we already have done into one portfolio thing, and we've never created a portfolio in life, so we all on YouTube going crazy, like looking up portfolios and stuff. And
how many weeks are you into at this point?
Oh,
this is like you said, month 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So you're looking at like 12 to 16 weeks.
Yeah.
And is how many total? How long is it total?
6 months.
6 months. You're month 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So you were good through the first few months.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And then you hit month 4,
Yeah.
and they give you this project, and you're like,
yeah, because in the first few months you're learning the simple. You're still learning HTML. You're still learning CSS. Once you get to month 3, it's like right after Christmas. You get into January. That's when we started learning React, and we had to learn JavaScript, and then. That's where everybody was like, whoa, let's slow down. let's slow down. We just got done to the easy part. Now we in JavaScript. That's a whole nother language. Like, maybe he was like, let's slow down. That's when everybody started to stumble. A lot of people started to leave. By that time, by that 3rd month in the program, we was probably down. We was at 48 in the beginning. We was probably down to like 40. And then we get to those last few months, we were probably at like 35 maybe. People were just jumping ship because like they just like it was the pressure, and then some of them had side jobs and like other than this, and they couldn't do both at the same time too.
Yeah, no, I get that.
It was tough, but so into our 5th month, right? So we're doing our portfolios. While we're doing our portfolios, Road to Hire is they set us up to, of course, get real jobs. Afterwards, get real jobs, not this $525 a week thing, right? So we they set us up with interviews. Of course, before even the interviews, they actually train us too for interviews within the professional development. They tell us like what type of questions they'll ask. They prepare us how to answer them and all those type of things. So they look out for us.
So what roles? Because I'm very curious about this part. So they're training you for interviews.
Yeah.
Are they training you for like heavy software engineering interviews, like data structures and algorithms? Or are they not going that deep? How does that work?
So all the positions they had were all software engineer positions for us, because that's all we were. We're all software engineers. Actually,
I thought the Avid one was different.
Yeah, so that was the UI UX. So that was front end. We were doing full stack at that point.
Yeah,
like we was doing front end and back end. But yeah, that was the Avid Exchange. That was UI UX. Some of them were having a data analyst. Some of them were asking for those, or data scientists, one of the two. And but yeah, there were things that we already knew. And I don't know for certain, but I think Road to Hire like asked them to ask us certain questions because they know like the limit of how much we learned and all that. So they didn't want us to like get thrown off by something like that. They know like, okay, they've learned this, that, and the third. Don't ask them this stuff. Yeah, that's
why I asked, because it's gonna be like you definitely can. And you said 6 months, right? In 6 months, you definitely can get someone where they understand enough about certain technologies to get a job done. Yeah, for sure. But to also then on top of that, train them to like do interviews that are heavy, data structures, algorithms, all that stuff. I don't know, man.
No.
That might take like a year.
Some people be throwing super hard interviews on people on purpose too. So like I can only imagine they prepared you.
I actually have a story for y'all. So our 5th month, we're getting our interviews. They tell us what companies are coming to interview us. So we had Lowe's, we had Ally, we had Avid Exchange, we had Mecklenburg County, we had Novant Health, and we had somebody else that I can't think of. But there were a lot. No, we didn't have no banks. And there were a lot of other companies they had, but they just weren't hiring at the time. So the 3 teams I chose, you get to choose 3 teams. I'm not sure if I just said that right. But the 3 teams I chose were Avid Exchange was one. Oh, and these teams present to us before that too. They give us like a little presentation of who they are, what they do, and what we'll be doing there and all that stuff. Avid Exchange gave the best presentation to me. And they were doing UI UX. I was interested in front end at that time. I was like, I want that. I want that. So I had Avid Exchange first. Lowe's was second for me. Now they had came to present us 2 times. The first time was horrible because it was a bunch of corporate people there just talking about Lowe's, and it was very, very boring. Very boring. The second time they came, they had a UI UX team come, and they were on, I think it was Miro or either Figma, and they had this whole presentation ready for us. And they were like showing us everything that they were about to do new. Like they had this new app coming out for Lowe's that was, you can go into a store and like it could direct you in like where you could type in what you want, and it would be like a whole like map, or you point your phone up and it was like you could direct you like with an arrow to where you want to go. Yeah. So they had Lowe's. That second interview with Lowe's was like very much better than the first one because that second one was nice. There were a lot more energy in there too. It was a lot better. Then the third company I had on there was Ally, and I had them third because So when we would present, they would invite some of these companies to like watch us. And Ally was usually the one that always came. And there was this one guy from Ally that would come and he would hate on everything we do. He would have questions and he didn't get the memo that this is all we know. Like, he's asking questions like, okay, like security questions, like, okay, well, if there's a breach, I'm like, man, we didn't do security. Like, we're not.
They got it. They breached us. They got it. They got the information.
They got it. Like, we can't help you. Like, like, with this, like, we're not cybersecurity. We are engineers. We're just here to build this. Like, y'all look at it. So I was like, I see what type of culture AI. I said AI, it's crazy, but Ally is on. So I was like, I'm good. I had them third. I knew they were like a good company, but the people there, I was like, I was a little iffy about. So I interviewed with Avid, and I had 3 interviews with them. So the first one was with the I forgot her name. Dion, she's a Scrum Master?
She is she's a diversity and inclusion lead.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. And she was really cool. She like that whole interview with her was real comfortable. We was chatting back and forth. It was like a conversation aimed for like an interview. It was like that. And then I mentioned I knew Corey and she knew Corey, and then it was like, oh, I'm locked in, right? I'm thinking this rap. I'm thinking this raps now. So that was my first.
Gotta love a little.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Trying to bank on a little nepotism.
It wasn't that strong. So I have my second interview with Avid, and this is the actual tech interview here. I ain't never been cooked so bad in my life. Now Avid was hiring for UI UX, man. And I'm thinking, I love front end. I'm thinking I'm about to go crazy. They start asking me some wild questions. Like, I can't even tell you what questions they were right now. I was like stuck. And I remember sitting in my desk. We're on Zoom. And this is my old bedroom, so it's small. I remember sitting in my desk in my corner, and I am like sweating through my armpit. I'm like, I hope they don't see this, because I was like frozen. They asked me a question. I was frozen for like so long, and I couldn't answer it. I'm like, I'm sorry, I just don't know the answer. They was like, it's okay. And they didn't tell me the answer. They just wrote down. It's like, oh, yeah, he's not getting hired. I'm like, okay, y'all got it. Cool.
Oh, that's
so
funny.
Then after that, I had my third interview with Avid was with I think their CEO, and he was really cool. We was in there chatting it up again. He didn't ask me any tech questions or anything like that.
More culture fit.
He was a cool guy. He actually helped me. We were during that project, that Instagram project. I was stuck on something, and he was like, "Oh yeah, do this, that, and the third." I was like, "Appreciate you." Like during the interview, like it was towards the end, but it was cool. Like it was a comfortable interview. But I knew I was going with them. I just got cooked. I was like, they don't think I know anything. So
did they give you any feedback at the end?
No, none. I just knew because I didn't get accepted. That was it. So
at least you said you didn't know.
Yeah,
I think
that's the important thing.
I did.
You just gotta be able to admit you don't know.
Yeah, I was like, I ain't about to impress y'all. There was 2 of them in there, 2 guys. I can tell they were experienced just by their headsets. So I was like, yeah, I'm about to get cooked. But that was my interviews with Avid.
All you ended up with Lowe's.
I ended up with Lowe's at the end. I interviewed with Lowe's. My interviews with Lowe's were actually funny because I had 2 interviews with them. One was a tech one. Another one was just a get to know you type. And my get to know you type was canceled twice. My interview was canceled twice. And then I come to find out that this lady quit right after she had my interview, like the same one. But I ended up having an interview with her. We cool. It was chatting. Nice lady. It was really simple. And then I get to my tech interview with Lowe's, and it was this just random guy. He worked in a store, but he wasn't in a store. He was probably at a, I don't know. He worked somewhere, but he was asking me the tech questions, and he was like, nothing. He didn't ask me anything as serious as that. Yeah. So what do you use? What do you use to look up when you get stuck? I was like, W3 Schools. He was like, oh, nice. He's like,
oh, wow.
Me too. Yeah, nice. So it was real, the most simplest interview out of all of them. He actually canceled on me once too before I actually got to interview with him. But it worked out. So I ended up getting my contract from Lowe's, and I saw how much I was making salary. I said, shit. I was like, I'm set. I ain't never seen that many numbers across a page for me.
That's good, man.
I came from working at UPS, getting $12 an hour to the airport. It wasn't at the airport, and then of course getting to pay the $200. with Road to Hire, then getting paid the $500 a week with Road to Hire, and then I see that, I'm like, hard work pays off. I was locked in.
So your first, I mean, you're comfortable sharing. How much was your first contract?
So my first contract was $60,000 offer. Nice. I was like, nice. I was like, I've never seen that before. I was like, for me, hey, I'm taking it. Yeah. And I found out that was out of all the companies, Lowe's was paying the most out of all of them from in the Road to Hire. So I was like, yeah, I made it. I made it. It was cool.
Yeah. On the East Coast, $60K entry level is good.
Yeah,
it's very good.
Yeah,
and that's awesome.
Yeah, and since then I've had
after 6 months of work on top of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Since then, now at Lowe's, I've had 2 raises, so I'm locked in. I'm locked in for sure right now.
So you went from, you're coding, you're in the coding apprenticeship.
Yeah.
You get into Lowe's as an engineer.
Yep. Associate software engineer. Yep.
Then, at some point, you make a change, I heard, at some point, to get more into the agile side, like project side. Yep. Talk us through what that looks like.
All right. So, starting with Lowe's, they actually started their first boot camp, and I was part of cohort number 1 with them. So they had a whole plan for us. They had an instructor. We're going to learn Lowe's-based coding. We're going to learn how they code. We're going to learn everything they use, a Docker, Kubernetes, all this. I'm like, what is that? I'm about to get cooked again. I was like, we learned. And not only that, now, after learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, now I had to throw all that out the window because now I had to learn Java. And I was like, that was a total switch for me. So I was stressing during that boot camp, and I went from 6-month boot camp apprenticeship to now our boot camp with Lowe's was 6 weeks to learn everything. And then on top of that, we had to build a full stack, a fully developed website. Back end, we built our own API, and then front end on React, and that was the ugliest website I ever made, but I got it through. It happened. So after our 6-week boot camp, we get placed on a team, and we actually get placed on 2 teams. We are on the first team for 8 months, and then we're on another team for 8 months. Basically, we're actually doing work. Yeah. We're actually doing work on these teams. We're seeing how Lowe's works, how the teams at Lowe's works, how what the work is really like. We're in there for real. And so I went through my first rotation. And it was something else. I didn't know what really working on the team was like until then. Yeah. And I was trying like little stuff, like make this pop up, make this pop up image, or make this pop up model right quick. And I was like, bet. But it was still like tough because I had to learn how to work in sprints and like reporting to a product manager, or even how to use tickets, like all that stuff, how to read tickets, and how to point tickets. Like I'm like, everything's a 5, everything's an 8, 9 to me. Like I don't know, but I'm doing all that, and I realized that I am not having fun anymore coding. I'm like, there's no passion here for me. I'm not enjoying myself. I don't feel like I'm really growing or learning too much, and it's not because of the work that they're giving me. Well, the work that they were giving me was light, but there was still times it's like I just didn't feel like doing it. I was struggling and I didn't feel like doing it either. It was like I was definitely at like a stumbling block at that point. So I bugged my managers. I have like 3 managers that I went to, and I was like, yo, I don't want to code anymore. I was like, I basically gave him like, who's that, Mike Conley? When he was like, I don't want to be here anymore. I was like, I just don't want to code anymore. At first I told him I want to be a Scrum Master. Like Lowe's was like, heck no, we do not train those here. I was like, okay, chill out. So then I finished my first rotation. I'm in my second rotation now, and I'm like 3 months in, and one of my managers finally comes to me. She's like, you still want to try to get into the business side? I was like, yes. I do not want to code anymore. She was like, bet, we got a product manager cohort number 2 starting up like next week. If you want to join, let me know ASAP, and we'll put you in. I was like, I want to join. I was like, I put that right enter. Like, no need. I was like, I want to join. So I'm in now my 5th week right now of training in product management, and it's like I'm enjoying it. And what I like too, my instructor, his name's Tommy. He used to work at Bank of America for a long time as a Scrum Master, and then he came over to Lowe's as a Scrum Master, and now he's like senior director, whatever, all that mean title. And he's like, what I like about him is because he's like, of course, instructing us, teaching us about the product manager role, but he's like keeping it hot. He's like, yo, this role ain't easy. This is tough. You're gonna get aggravated. You're gonna have to deal with people. You're gonna have to deal with engineers. You're gonna do a lot of work. You're gonna have to write these OKRs. You're gonna have to write these features. You're gonna have to write these stories. And I'm like, bet. I'm like that. And I'm like, we're doing all of that right now. Right now, we're working on an epic, which is basically about a Lowe's shuttle that goes from our headquarters in Mooresville to the tech hub. The problem is that there is no like web application or nothing for it. So people just show up and they hope they get on the bus. There's only 14 seats on that bus. Yeah. There could be like 20 people there, and you stuck there. You can't get on the bus now. You have to actually drive to the tech. You got stuck in traffic. The shuttle bus actually goes through the fast lane and all that, express lane, all that, right? So what we're doing now is we're not creating the app, but of course we're creating all the epics, the requirements, the stories, all that to create an app for the next cohort of engineers to create.
See, that'd be cool. The thing. When I talked to a developer, I remember we had this situation, and like we talked about the boot camp that we did. We get a whole bunch of people in, and they're just like, this developing stuff is like too much. Like I want to do what Corey does. It seems like he don't do nothing. And I'm like, all right,
yeah,
come on. So that's why I always would everybody be like, I'm interested in Agile. I always be like, why? Is it because it seems like no work?
No,
if that's the case, that's fine. Because there's, as we talked about before, there's plenty of mid Scrum Masters, mid Agilists. You can probably find yourself into a way to do nothing, but you're going to cap out very early.
Facts.
And you're going to be stuck in that just form of, I can't even call it middle management because we don't really manage nothing. Yeah. Like I'm not responsible for nobody or no product.
Yeah.
So you just get stuck there. But if you want to learn how to do it and affect change within your company, then that's going to take work.
Yeah, and it's cool too, because the way I feel now with going through product management, going through this whole cohort, I feel like I'm like, of course I'm learning this, but like I'm enjoying like learning this. It's something like I feel like I can do like for a long time. Even I know it's gonna be difficult. I've been told like a million times, like you're gonna get mad, you're gonna get upset at people, and it's gonna be life. And I'm like, bet, hey, I'd rather do that than be stuck on a line of code that's missing a comma for 28 hours. I'd be mad about that, bro. I'm like, bro, for real.
Yeah, it's a very different kind of grind.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
If you want to be good at it, like you said, if you don't care about being good at it, there are professional corporate scammers that just
absolutely
do the bare minimum and then go job to job. But we're all talking here, assuming that we all want to be good at our craft.
We're the best in our craft.
Yeah, it's a different grind.
No, for real.
When Corey first told me that he wanted to get over in the agile side of things, I was like, cool. It's gonna be different.
Yeah.
I was like, they're gonna grade you differently.
Yeah.
Right. Like the thing about coding, the benefit of it and acquiring it as a skill is that it's very easy to prove what you know.
Facts.
Like you ask me a question, depending on how I answer that question, you're going to know immediately if I know what I'm talking about or I don't. You ask me a series of questions, you're going to know. And it's very easy, much easier to assess someone's depth of knowledge and experience, etc. Yeah. In the business side in general, and the agile side in general, you can BS your way through a lot of conversations.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do BS their way through a lot of conversations.
Executives do that.
Yeah, a lot of executives do that. And on the other side of that, they're going to be looking at your accolades differently. So there's going to be other pressures around like pursuing different degrees and, certifications and things like that, because the path now is I get in, I'm some sort of agilist or product manager or whatever, right? And a lot of these people desire to be VPs, executives of whatever. And it's a much more now about who you know, how you get out there networking wise. That's still important on the dev side for sure, on the engineering side, but it's just so much more weighted on the business side.
Yeah.
Like I can walk into any room and they could look at my credentials on paper and be like, oh, well, I don't know maybe he doesn't have a master's degree in just computer science or a PhD or whatever. And so they ask me questions, and then after the first 2 questions, they're like, oh, okay, he knows what he's talking about. Usually he brings you in, they're going to want, like, hey, let's go out, let's get a beer. They're getting to know you. They look at your accolades. You might not even, just based on the degree in a lot of those types of roles, a lot more of them will just be pushed to the side versus the other side of the fence. So as long as you keep aware of that and you pursue, like I think how Corey did it with continuing to pursue the certifications, get involved with the community, go into these different conferences, get to know the people that are in these different organizations, and figure out how you can bring value. And you'll be fine, right? And that's the thing I say, you'll be fine. Just be prepared for a different type of work.
Yeah.
Right? And that's still a grind in of itself, because now, you gotta keep track of who's who. You gotta know the names and what's going on. You gotta get better at email. You gotta do like all that stuff. It's just part of the game. I mean, you know better than me at this point.
Yeah, it's politics.
Yeah,
it is politics without politics, and it gets rougher the larger companies get, larger enterprises get, because Agile is the buzz. There is no tech executive on this side of the planet or that side of the planet who has not heard of Agile. They might not agree with it, but they know that in order for them to pass their strategic models, their shareholders know, hey, Agile companies make software accessible and they push it out. You guys got to go Agile. Or there's an issue with that thought process within itself of going Agile. It's not a place you can go. But to that point, they just start there. I got the buzzword. All right, we're going to be Agile by 2025. Y'all get on it. But that's as deep as their knowledge and it goes. So you do the same job in spurts. At the team level that you're learning to work on right now, and even I'd argue that they're training you for a little more than the team level. When you start talking about OKRs and functional requirements and stuff, that's portfolio level stuff.
Yeah, they are.
But constant flow of value is always going to be the synonymous theme through all different pieces of it. Because if you can focus on making a team predictable and efficient in the way that they push value through their system, the people at the next level are going to go, we can trust them. And then you get to that next level and you go, okay, I can push larger chunks of work through the system at a consistent level, and I can get you what you wanted when I told you I would. They'll continue to move you up. But now it's just a matter of, instead of writing stories, you're writing epics and features. Instead of writing features, you're writing OKRs. Then you get to a point when you grow that executive who just like Agile by 2025, now I have to go educate him on what it actually means to be Agile. And that comes with a certain level. That's the only time we match up with them, because he has somebody in his ear that understands it but can't convince him or her. And they know once we start speaking, because like I'll even say this too, like it's interesting applying and interviewing as an Agilist, because where I work at the bank, most places our Scrum Masters belong to tech managers. And then our coaches and RTEs belong to a separate, like I'll say for myself specifically, we belong to our own group of a PMO. So when teams and leaders need Agile professionals, they call us, we charge them, they lend us out to the other side of the business. So I have head cover. I can drop me into the middle of the jungle and go fix stuff because I don't have to worry about rolling up to somebody who works inside that bubble. But our Scrum Masters are in a completely different position because they work for and report to the people that they're also doing work for. So the interview that you're going to get from the tech manager who just knows he has to hire a Scrum Master versus the interview I'm going to get with my manager is SPC, Safe Program Consultant, taught and educated for years. He knows the game. So that they're going to be able to tell and smell me out a million miles away, hey, this dude has no idea what they're talking about. I can probably finesse my way through that tech manager interview a little more easier. He don't really know what you're talking about. So it varies depending on as you grow and progress through this business.
Yeah, it's weird hearing y'all talk about this, man, because like I've been out of the strict software engineer role for like the last 4 years. Went from architect role to solutions engineer, which was sales oriented, and was much like that role heavily involved on the business side, but from a revenue and sales perspective. So like if you work for a company that sells software, one of the people helping with that. And then now, developer relations, which what the heck is that? You know,
I wonder that every time we talk about it.
Yeah, like I went from, gosh, now I'm thinking about it. This is a little disturbing. I went from like strictly engineering to sales/engineering to now marketing/engineering.
Wow.
Much more focus on the product itself. Like so a product manager, like one of the teams I work with, they have product managers, they have product marketing managers, they have all these people that then I work with in a separate department of developer relations to help like guide and build content for this team based on what they're doing. Like today I was on a pair programming session with one of the engineers on this team to help like test the product and see how it actually really works, because eventually I'm going to be building content, giving talks at conferences on it, doing all that kind of stuff.
All stuff. Huh?
But but I'm realizing now that I am much more involved on the business side, and I have been for a while. Even as an engineer, like when we were working together at Duke, I ended up somehow getting pulled into these business-oriented conversations, none of which I wanted to be in. I didn't want to be in any of them, but I was there. And so, I mean, they put me there because they know I ask questions, and then things happen. But the progress now, like, I think anyone, even an engineer who wants to stay an engineer, depending on your real, like, meta goals, I don't write as much code as I used to. Like, I still do it on a weekly basis, you know, a few days out of my week, I'm writing something, I'm building something because it's something that I enjoy in my day-to-day. But my role is very hybrid. I'm saying this because I think it's important for people to know that there's so many different things you can do.
For real.
Like your story of getting in with coding is probably the most common, and I would argue the most effective as far as breaking in the door. You realize I don't want to do this, which is fine. I honestly, I tell folks, you can bank on it. You may very well not want to do it. I don't even know why I wanted to continue doing it. I just enjoyed it. But for a lot of people, they don't. So you get in, you say, I don't like it. But now you're almost a year in. You have some experience. They know your background. They know who you are. You can have those conversations with the managers like you did. You can do these things to try and pivot and then figure out opportunities. And I think you're fortunate that you were able to get out that quickly. Because you know, a lot of people, they're not working as an engineer for a couple months. I'm like, you need to bite that bullet for like a year at least. Like,
no, I did my year.
Maybe, so you did a year. So 1 to 3, I think 1 is the minimum. 1 to 3 is like what I see the most. People get in, they work. Oh, I don't like it. Okay, let me try and pivot. Get this cert, network with such and such, figure out where I can make an opportunity. And then now you're in it. I think it's an amazing story. And for everybody who is watching, whether you want to start in software engineering, if you start there, it's a good place to start, and you don't have to feel stuck there. You don't have to stay. You can move. You can change things. It doesn't mean you gave up or did something wrong. It means you grew, right? And you made some serious decisions about what you want to do with your life.
Facts.
So I like that. I like this story.
The other company was Honeywell.
Honeywell.
They
were tech investment into Charlotte right around that same time. That makes sense.
Yeah, they were late. They were like, they did present to us. They just did it like after we all picked our top 3 already. And some people was like, hey, we got Honeywell coming through to present real quick if y'all want to jump in. I didn't jump in, but some people did. They took like 2, I think they took like 2 of us into Honeywell. But I think they're doing,
Did anybody not get hired?
Yes. Oh, that was the other company, Red Ventures. Okay, so Red Ventures always also taking people. But yeah, some people didn't get hired. Those that didn't get hired stayed with Road to Hire, and they got to be like trained a little more. And then also they went on to like become instructors for like a little time period. And then Road to Hire was like, okay, we're going to try to set you guys up for like a job also in that whole process.
Did they eventually get placed?
Exactly. That's where like it was like they did. So I know some of them. One guy two of them actually went to Duke Energy, and but I don't know where a few others went.
Because that's how I had come across it. Because I was still at Duke at the time.
Yeah.
And I saw an email come across that they were. I was like, what is this road to hire thing? So I sent it out to like every young person under the age of 23 that I knew. I was just like, yo, please, because I'm just like, if there's anything I owe and I'll always be appreciative to Duke for, it was the type of environment. And I knew where you'd be falling.
Yeah.
I knew the division of Duke that would be responsible for pulling you in from Road to Hire. Yeah. And that division specifically is a very great incubator and allowing you to find what it is that you love and inspiring you and allowing you. I remember we talk about rearrangement of people. I'm with Duke. This is mid-pandemic. We're working on this program because they're just like, look, the world is going crazy. We're shutting the doors, bolting the windows. Nobody moves unless you want to move internally. And I'm talking to Richard Donaldson, and he was like, you know what I love about this company, why I've been here so long? I said, why is that? He said, I've changed my job so many times and then figured out I did not like the thing I went over to do. And my pay didn't change. My family ain't missing a meal. And I got to go right back as soon as I realized I didn't want it. Jeez. And we built that program. That's when we did the Scrum Master cohort where I was like, that's Mason went through it. That's where he got all the certifications and stuff. We started just training people to kind of increase internal mobility. And we built that all off that conversation. So they were really, that's what I was hoping. I'm just like, and then I realized that they're not hiring in that same cohort. I was like, dang it. I was hoping that they'd get pushed towards that direction because they were great for that.
Yeah, there were a bunch of companies that Road to Hire is tied with. Of course, Duke Energy was one of them. And the ones that didn't get to like see us, like Bank of America was one of them. Wells Fargo, NASCAR.
They got some reach, man.
Yeah, they had. Okay, there's a few more, but Atrium was also one of them.
I'm gonna go get my nursing degree.
Hey, do it.
Why not?
Yeah, but there's a lot.
I'll shave.
I could think of a few reasons not to, but you know, if that's what you want to do, that's funny.
Road to Hire was cool though. There's a lot of avenues that people can take, young people or even older people could take. Because once we got into Lowe's, our boot camp, right? Lowe's took 8 of us out of Road to Hire, and then there was 10 of us in the class, and 2 of them came from a boot camp called Tech Elevator.
Okay.
And that one, you don't get paid. You actually have to pay them. But they're going to set you up with a job like Lowe's or like a thing.
So we done talked about placement is key.
Yeah.
Actually, I got a question. I might know the answer to this, but I want to start asking our guests this as they come along.
Me first?
Yeah, you first. You're going to be the first one.
I'm scared.
So you saw the offer letter. I got some bread coming in.
Bang.
We talked about it. We had the wires on just about irresponsible purchasing. What was the first irresponsible purchase where you're just like, I have no business spending this money, but it's gone?
The first irresponsible purchase?
I hope you.
I didn't.
I
my first check.
I've seen you make changes in that as you.
Yeah, my first check, I didn't do anything. I think we just went out to get some drinks. With my first check, but at my first irresponsible one, I don't think I have one. I think my first biggest purchase was the car.
Yeah,
was my car, and that was
but that makes sense.
Yeah, but I don't think I had an irresponsible one because y'all was in my ear.
Well, yeah,
so I was like,
that's good. That's good because I was in their ear.
I was
you gotta pass that on, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, when I saw the looks on these guys' eyes,
bro,
making that 33 an hour.
It wasn't even my first check. It was my second check that went crazy. I was like, dang. And now I'm looking at my checks. I'm like, hey, it's life, man.
But now I'm sure your bills have caught up to it in some way or shape.
Oh yeah, they have. But
get married, so.
Oh yeah, that money's gonna be spent.
It's gonna be spent, bro.
Man, that's what I remember them coming in and like the energy was different after that Friday. Like it was like we all got paid, and then I came in Monday and it just felt different. I said,
what y'all do, bro?
What y'all do?
What y'all do with that money, bro?
I'm gonna tell you how it started, which is why I was so overweight. So you come in on Friday.
Yeah.
We walking down the Rhino Market. Everybody, we stand up. Everybody going on around. I'm getting a little Le Mans sandwich, little bag. Walk back up. Cool. I'm not physically moving, right? Working. doing XYZ. Now it's lunchtime. Oh, y'all want to go to lunch?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now I'm right on me. Throw your pizza.
Pizza. Yep.
Throw it on there. Whatever y'all got behind there, I want it on this.
That's crazy.
Peculiar pizza.
Oh,
they did not survive the pandemic.
Dang. Where were they at?
Yeah, they were in the French Quarter uptown.
Oh,
Like right behind. I think it's Valhalla. But banging pizza.
Yeah.
Banging pizza.
Oh, that's when y'all were working at that building uptown?
Yeah, like the storage closet.
Yeah. The storage closet's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, it was very much so like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that. We go back to work. Now, mind you, I'm back and forth between the vending machines the entire day, just eating while I'm working. We leave there. All right, we're going to go to, what to say? Is that Hooligans?
Hooligans?
That bar we used to go to in the French Quarter, because we walked right back to the French Quarter.
It was something like that.
It's where they be having all the
one with the uptown,
matches.
upstairs and downstairs joint.
Yes.
They be having a hockey joint in there too.
Yeah, 100%.
I forgot what it's called though.
Yeah, I think that is Hooligan. We right there, drink at
Going
4:30.
Going crazy.
But by the time I didn't even see, I ain't even gotten home. I done spent $75 that day.
4:30. That's nasty word.
No, we was out. We don't do it.
Word.
But that's not even that crazy because in Charlotte has a really big culture of like Thursday starting the weekend.
Oh,
so even if you look at a lot of like the South End, a lot of like the bar and like party spots, it'll be like, we close at 6. We close at 6. We close at 6. And then Thursday, we close at 2. Like, what are y'all closing at 2 a.m. for on a Thursday? Because they outside.
Some people get paid on that Thursday. They got that time. You know what I'm saying? And they getting right.
And they be out there. They be out
They
there.
were having a great time.
Wow.
I was still in the office a lot of times.
Yeah.
Big facts.
But they were having a great time. And they came and we had that conversation. And I didn't even know how to exactly put it to them because I didn't want to like dampen the spirit.
Yeah. Like, yo, stop all that.
But like,
you gotta chill out.
Stop all that mess.
But I might have to dampen it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly what I said. I just remember telling them something along the lines of, this money isn't everything. And you can lose it tomorrow.
Facts.
So don't think that this is just going to keep coming. Spend wisely, like make good decisions, make decisions with your money that it's going to set you up for future stuff.
Great point.
You know.
Oh, my bad.
Go ahead.
I was about to say great point because of the 8 of us that was taken into Rhode Island, we all got paid the same $60,000 we came in on. We had one guy, $60,000. I'm telling you, I'm looking at that, I'm about to cry. I'm like, Mama, we made it. Like, I'm telling you, we all got paid. So we had one person in there, one guy, and he, you could tell in Road to Hire in the apprenticeship, he was, he didn't learn as quickly as others.
Fair.
So we got into Lowe's, and that same problem occurred. And now we had to learn Java and all this.
A little delayed.
He was delayed. We had to build a whole API. He was not with us. He was not with us. He was with them for sure. And because he was like slow, he was holding us back from learning too. So he ended up actually getting fired during the boot camp. Wow. It was we all just got paid bank, and then we were probably like 4 or 5 weeks in maybe, and they tell him, hey,
you gotta go.
Yeah. The cool thing about Road to Hire, I'd say, is they actually took him in for a little bit. I don't know what hell he's doing now, but I seen those on LinkedIn that he's actually will end up being at Road to Hire. Good. But I mean, they look out.
They invest in their people.
Yeah, they do.
That's cool. See, it's nice to have a program that's like that.
Yeah.
Because some folks, they need more attention.
Yeah.
And more time. And if you don't have the organizational setup to actually invest that time, like it sounds like Road to Hire has purposefully set up their organization so that they can care for folks to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Because my thing with the guys and everyone I talked to, like, you just have to put forth extraordinary effort.
Yeah.
Anything else, whether it takes you a little more time, whatever, but you have to be able to put in the extraordinary effort every day.
Yeah.
To learn. That means putting in, and it's not just effort into your learning, what you're learning that day, whether it be JavaScript or whatever technical concept. Like, you have to put extraordinary effort to be disciplined when you go home.
Yeah.
Make sure you're getting enough sleep.
Yeah.
Make sure you're actively resting. Like, we had all these conversations because you don't realize when your brain is like that, is working that hard, sleep is critical to you being able to function at all day to day.
Yeah.
You fall behind in a boot camp like that on your sleep, and you're going to be hurting.
Yeah.
Bad.
I had 2 instances like that. One was in Road to Hire and one was in Lowe's. So Road to Hire, we had a group project, and this is probably my favorite project we ever had because we was going in. And the problem was going in, though, we was working overnight, 12 to like 1 a.m. We was working. One of our partners, he was in his room. He had a bottle of Tito's next to his bed, drinking at 1 a.m. I'm like, chill out. We need you to code. Like, it was bad, but that was like the best website we ever made. It was called Order Mob. It was like a Tinder for restaurants. Gotcha. it was like swipe left, swipe right type of thing. It was dope. But at Lowe's, it was my first team I was on, and of course we work with people in Bangalore, India. And we had one person in Bangalore, and I was working on something at that time, and I think it was like coming to the last day of the sprint where I had to turn this in, and I was like struggling with this one piece, and I knew he was like the only person on the team that could help because he was like the UI UX like person on the team. He was like the front end developer on that team, and I was like I was working all night on it, and I realized it was like 4 a.m. and I was like, no way. Let me see what he's doing right now. So I hit him up. He was like, bro, go to sleep. He told me that. I was like, yo, he's like, everything's going to be fine. Just go to sleep, okay? We'll figure this out when you wake up in like 4 hours. I'm like, okay. So I went to sleep, and I appreciate him telling me that because I was really about to be up all night trying to figure that out. And he had been with Lowe's for probably like 2 years maybe. But he wasn't like an associate. No, he's been doing it for a long time. And he was cool, though. Shout out to Ashish. That's my guy.
That's a great name.
Yeah, that's my boy.
Fantastic name.
Ashish.
Man, there is a point where you start getting negative returns. Like in the beginning of my career, I would stay up late. And I realized that honestly, after about 11 to 12, I'm not productive. Like I'm not getting much done.
No.
Like I'm
Even if I'm
about
up at 5 or 6 to go right back to it.
Exactly.
That's much better than me being up to 1 and 2 to try to fix it.
Exactly. In those days, you start at 8, so if you're working till midnight, what is that? 8 to 8:12. That's
crazy.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Right?
It's a lot of hours.
I realized I was just looking stuff up on Google, and it made no sense. I'm like, what am I doing right now, bro? Yeah. Like, I'm not finding any answers for this.
The words just start to blend together.
Yes, bro.
Yeah.
It's looking like.
And I've had a lot of those where like I went to sleep at midnight, and I woke up at 5 a.m. And those aren't the best days afterwards, but I found for me a minimum of like 6 hours of sleep. I could function.
Yeah.
Wasn't optimal, but I could like function decent. Okay. If I was at 7, we doing something.
Yeah, you rocking. Yeah.
If I'm at 8, your boy's well rested.
You locked in.
I'm well rested. I'm ready for war. But if folks would, stay up. My inclination was for a long time. I didn't listen to that advice, and then the only thing that shook me out of it was I had like a week or two near the beginning of my career where I did it. I stayed up those late hours and I got nothing done that I needed to get done still. Yeah. And then the day I allowed myself to go to sleep, because in my mind at the time, it was like, if you go to sleep, you're failing.
No, for real.
Very extreme self-talk.
That is serious.
If you go to sleep, you're failing.
That is serious. That's real life.
So I'm going to. You're supposed to be here.
Exactly.
Imposter.
Did I deserve this 60 bands for real? No lies.
Man, I let myself go to sleep. I slept for a full 8 hours. I woke up, and within an hour or two, what I was working on was solved.
Easy.
And I was like,
yeah.
Okay. All right. Fine.
Every time.
We're gonna implement this now.
Yeah. It's
been good, man.
Yeah, it's cool.
So you just overall now product manager role, you feel better? You feel
Yeah, I feel a lot better. So now too, after I finish this cohort, this training, I go to my team. They're gonna put me on a team for like 5 months because I'm still part of cohort 1. I'm with them, but like I'm still cohort 1. So after the 5 months, I actually get to choose if I want to continue to be an engineer or if I want to go into product management. Lowe's let me choose that. So I was like, bet. I know what I'm gonna choose now. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know exactly what I'm gonna choose. But I'm glad they gave me that option though. And but I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Yeah,
good. It's a beautiful thing.
Have a lot of back and forth in the cohort because we got 10 product managers trying to figure out what we should like title this, and I'm the only one in there with like engineering experience. So like they have they asked me a lot of stuff like, if you know, with your engineering, like, how would you like place this tick here? Would you combine these two things? What type of work is this? What would you point this? I'm like, two.
No? That's funny. It helps having that engineering background.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a blip on the resume.
Exactly. Yeah.
And those business rules, it works as leverage.
Yeah.
All right. So any advice for anyone who's trying to get into tech, who wants to maybe do something similar to what you're doing, what would you tell them?
I'll tell them, go for it. Go for tech. They give it up. Trust me. They be giving it up. They give up that bag in tech. I was okay. So real quick, you had to try to teach me tech one time, and I was like, heck no. Then you was like, you, Mason, ASAP were sending me stuff like to try to self-teach. Self-teaching, if you are like that and you can self-teach yourself, I commend you, because I cannot. I suck at that. I had to be in a class, I had to be taught visual learning, all that. But if you can self-teach yourself, do it. If you need to go to like an apprenticeship, a boot camp, it's worth it, especially if they place you in a great company afterwards. Get to the bag. Get to the bag. It's well worth it. Trust. Big trust.
I love it. I think that's a good place to end it. You got anything else?
No. Appreciate you all for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. And appreciate having you, little bro.
Appreciate y'all, man.
See y'all next week.